Welcome to Arcane Odyssey, a game that you guys have been asking me to play again and again and again and again, so here we are. And I'm just gonna come out and say it right off the bat, I should hate this game. Everything about this game, I should despise it. But I don't. And so this video is almost a little bit more for me than it is for you, as sort of a case study on why I'm still playing this. Because I probably shouldn't be, but here we are. Anyways, if you don't want to watch the rest of the video, and you've been asking yourself, is Arcane Odyssey worth playing? I've been waiting to see Eclipse talk about it before I do. First of all, that was a bold choice, because I might have never talked about this, but here we are. Is it worth playing? Yeah, I think it is. If you've got time and you want something different, go ahead and try this out. Compared to a lot of the other complete schlock and garbage on Roblox, this ain't too bad. That being said, it does have a mountain of problems, as a lot of these games do, but we're gonna get there in due time. I want to start off talking about the good things and the things that I liked about Arcane Odyssey while I played it, and get one thing out of the way right off the bat, which is that I've only played this game for about 4 hours now, a little over 4 hours, which, all things considered, isn't a ton of time. It's not the 12 hours that I put into Blox Fruit, and God, I wish I'd only put 4 hours into that game, but this is judging the game off of the 4 hours that I have played. This is not a comprehensive review. A lot of people seem to think that every single video that I make where I'm criticizing games automatically means that I'm doing a game review. It's not a game review. It's effectively a first impressions and a few why questions. And hope that, who knows, maybe the developers will see it and can make some meaningful change to make the new player experience better for more players, which I feel like I sound like a broken record saying that now, because I'm always saying that. And the last thing that I'll say is, if you were looking for this video, you have one person to thank, and that's Noah RNRFS, who made a video talking about why people hate this game. And when I went to do research to see if this game was even worth starting up to begin with, because I didn't want to just go in completely blind without having any clue what the game even looked like, he told me that people that like Woken and people that like Blox Fruit didn't like this game. And when I heard that, I was like, well, now I have to play it. So here we are. First things first, the good. Arcane Odyssey is a truly impressive game when it comes to scale, scope, and just general attention to detail on a lot of things. It's clear to me that the developers that were working on this game were extremely passionate about what they were creating, and I think they generally just have a knack for making things that you normally wouldn't think about look good just for the sake of it. There's a lot of quality of life features that will probably just fly immediately under the radar that people won't even notice or won't care about, but the developers thought about that. When you're driving your ship around, you can clearly see the wake that your boat makes as it drives through the water. That's not something they had to do. They could have just completely forgotten about that, ignored it, and just had you coast along a blank texture, like some other game. But they didn't do that. While using a good amount of your magic spells, they're powerful magic spells, and because of that, they can do damage to the terrain around you. Even something as small as docking your ship. If you go to an area and dock your ship close enough to an edge, it will automatically spawn a plank so you can walk to shore rather than having to jump. Someone even went as far as to program in a stat tracking page that shows the stats of every single player in the lobby, and all you need to do is hover over it. Player kills, NPC kills, levels, time played, all that stuff just displayed right here. It seems like a small detail, but it's genuinely just a mark of a game that cares about showcasing your accomplishments. If you take a break or weren't paying attention, maybe missed a dialogue box, the quest tab immediately tells you exactly what happened in your previous interaction and what you needed to do next, so that way you don't get lost. All of the cities and environments that I've been to are pretty clearly well made, especially the city of Redwake, which is probably my favorite place I've been in the whole game. There's just nothing like that feeling of walking on planks of wood right above the water and knowing that people could be right underneath you driving boats. Or you could be the one driving the boat underneath the whole city. I don't know, that's just really cool to me. There was a moment when I was playing where I was trying to get to level 40 for something we'll talk about later, and I did a bunch of quests for this alchemist guy, and he just kept giving me more quests, and I was like, oh, I wonder what's at the end of this quest line. And then I got to the end of it, and the alchemist joined my crew for my ship. Normally, when I'm playing these games, the quests don't have any real tangible, like, rewards or any sort of difference on the world, but here we are. This guy just joined my crew. That's awesome. Really, this game wears its inspirations on its sleeve, I think, and I'm sure there's plenty of other inspirations that I'm missing here, but I think the similarities that can be drawn to my favorite game of all time, Legends of Zelda Breath of the Wild, definitely helped this game out in my biased area of opinion. The game is quite relaxed, encourages exploration a lot, and I found myself doing things that in other games I would probably just fall asleep. But in here, just based truly off of, I guess, the vibe of the game, I was doing it. Someone asked me to go catch 5 fish. Sure, why not? I'll chill on the dock and catch some fish. Someone tells me to go over and grab some bananas from a nearby island. All right, I'm in. And you know what? If I get to that island and I see a large peak in front of me that looks difficult to climb, I bet you if I get up there, there's gonna be some chests and loot. Arcane Odyssey is a game that truly appeals to people who like to check boxes. And I am one of the people who likes to check boxes. Being able to pull up my map, see how many quests, see how many chests are on an island at any given time, and knowing that I can go do all of those things and it will check off that box is very satisfying. And the most downright confusing, baffling part of all is, this game isn't a complete anti-consumer nightmare. At least not from what I can tell. To my shock, when I went into the store, there wasn't a bunch of limited time fake offers. There wasn't a bunch of pleas to buy double XP. There wasn't a bunch of pay to win nonsense. Okay, well, then is this real life? Like, how the hell does that happen? You mean to tell me that the game's developers might actually have respect for their players? That can't be right. This is Roblox after all. But seriously, in an age of double XP and fake limited time offers and 550,000 players, this is the biggest breath of fresh air, hands down, high and above. Nothing comes close. And I think if there's any takeaway that you should take from this video, it's that unless I'm missing something and there is some pay-to-win crap in here, this deserves an immense amount of props, and the developers should be proud of themselves for not actively preying on children to make bank. Now, I've talked good for this game quite a bit now, and I wanted to start with that so people wouldn't get mad at me, because there are just as many negatives, if not more negatives, that I ran into while playing that ended in a mostly frustrating experience by the end, despite the early game experience being wonderful. Overall, that's the takeaway I got with this game, despite the fact that I'll probably log on and keep playing. The early game is very well crafted, fun, and makes you feel like you're learning the mechanics of the game and accomplishing things. And then after about, I don't know, give or take 2 hours, the game just becomes an unfun slog. And it doesn't have to be that, which is what we're going to talk about. Starting off on the bad list, first of all, keybinds can't be rebound. At all. Why can't you do this? That's a bit of an exaggeration. You can change the dash to shift or to double tap a direction. But that's it. Why can't you rebind your keys? I don't understand. Like, how do we have this game that's so well crafted, has so many good quality of life features, has such great systems in it, but you can't rebind your keys? Oftentimes while playing this game, because so many Roblox games play similar but have different control schemes, I would be pressing the wrong buttons on a consistent basis, and it was really frustrating. Not only that, but because shift is used to charge your mana and is also used to dash if you use the dash on shift option, I was effectively forced to not use dash on shift, because if I did, sometimes when I went to go charge my mana, I would get launched across the room. Why is it this way? I don't get it. Pretty early on in the game, I put my boat down, got out of my boat, went to go do some quests and whatnot, and I forgot where I put my boat. I know, I'm stupid, but cut me some slack here, alright? I lost my boat, and trying to resummon the boat is seemingly nigh impossible. If I miss something, it's poorly explained. If I didn't miss something, it's just not very great design. Basically, if you want to bring your boat back, you need to wait for it to despawn, which takes forever. I don't know how long it takes, but it feels like it's upwards of 10 minutes. The game desperately needs an option to despawn your boat, because it's not just losing your boat that becomes a problem when it comes to not having your boat. Sometimes you'll fall off a sky island, which we'll get there, and get locked like a mile away from everything else on this random patch of land. And if you're there and your boat's somewhere else, you can't get your boat. So you're screwed. And you're not going to swim back to land because of the way the mechanics work, so you're just going to drown, die, and then respawn back where you came from. It sucks, and it feels like there's just no reason that you can't manually despawn your boat. Even if it takes a while, even if you can't be in combat while you're doing it, like, it just should be an option, but it isn't. When it comes to direct bugs, I didn't run across that many while I was playing. There was this one where I went into a cutscene and the game soft locked and I had to completely restart it. And sometimes bosses would get stuck in the ground and stuff. But other than that, the game can be janky at times, but not directly buggy. There is a food system in the game that tries to get you to cook meals and use that food in order to make sure you don't starve to death and yada yada yada, but from what I played, it seemed like a mostly pointless mechanic. At the very least, the mechanic of keeping yourself alive and stopping you from starving. There was no point when I was playing the game where I ever felt like I was going to starve to death or didn't have enough food. And from what I can understand, I think there are meals in the game and different ingredients you can get that will give you different bonuses, and that feels like where the cooking mechanic should be, rather than trying to keep yourself alive. Because again, it doesn't really add anything to the game. It feels mostly pointless. If the ability to starve to death is basically non-existent the entire time that you're playing, then it's like, well, why is this even a mechanic to begin with? I'm not sure. It just felt tedious and unnecessary. And now we have to talk about the elephant in the room. The thing that I think every single person is probably thinking about right now and is wondering why I haven't brought it up yet. So here we go. The level 40 level lock. And I'm sure this won't be the last level lock, because that's never how these games work. Basically, this game duped me. It duped me hard, because at the beginning of the game, when you're first starting to do quests, you're about to go fight a boss, but the chief of the city decides to tell you that you need to prepare first, and assigns you to do X amount of side quests before you do. And those side quests are things to teach you how to play the game, just default mechanics, things like going to fight bandit camps or going to fish, you know, general stuff. That's good. It gives you an in-universe reason for learning how to do these normal tasks that you're going to have to do throughout the whole game. And then after that, when you get to the next town, you talk to someone and they tell you that you should probably prepare again. But this time, it doesn't assign you any quests. It doesn't force you to do anything. So all you need to do is defeat this person. And if you want to prepare for it first, or if you want to go straight there, that's up to you. So just for the sake of finally having a choice in one of these games, I was like, okay, screw it. I'm gonna go in underleveled. I'm gonna go beat the boss. And finally, we've got a game that lets you play under your own merits and your own skill rather than forcing you to grind. Thank God, right? So I do it, and I go back, and I need to follow this person that I just fought, and it's level locked to level 40. I don't know if I just got lucky and there were level locks before this and I missed them, but I'm pretty sure that this is the first level lock. And it's a brutal level lock. At the time, I was like level 29, level 30, and going up 10 levels takes quite a while. But the question sort of becomes, why did they decide to put this level lock in now when before it seemed fine? I just don't understand. And I've said it 100 times with these games, and I'll say it 100 more times. If the idea behind level locks is to stop you from getting somewhere where you're just going to get destroyed, let people go there and get destroyed. And then when they get destroyed, they can think to themselves, I should have listened to the NPC and trained more before I got here. And for people who are particularly skilled, they can get through those areas without dying while underleveled. But nope, level 40 lock, f*** you. And you know, I'm almost starting to think that I can see why there's a level 40 lock. And I think the reason that there's a level 40 lock on this is because it's awful. Because it's beyond terrible, poorly thought out, poorly tested. Like, good God, what the hell were they thinking? When you go to do the level 40 quest, it almost made me quit. It really did. And I think this isn't going to happen to everybody, but it is going to happen to some of you, inevitably. And oh God, does it suck. It's just some of the worst quest design in any game I've ever played. And that's an impressive feat. Well and truly. You get to this island, and basically there's a guy at the bottom, and he says he's looking for information, and you should go get it for him, and then come back. And if you don't, then he's gonna kill you. Okay, well, whatever. He says that the person that you were trying to follow has already gone up to the Sky Island. And in order to get to the Sky Island, you need to climb this massive mountain. So at this point, I was like, awesome, I've been loving the environment so far. I'm gonna climb this massive mountain and get to the Sky Islands. That's gonna be so cool. And the first time up, it truly is a breathtaking experience. It's super fun to climb the mountain all the way up to the top, and it feels like you've accomplished something when you get to the top. But that feeling will not last. You get to the top, you find Iris, the person you were supposed to talk to, you talk to her for a little bit, and then she gives you some information that you need to talk to the guy who is at the bottom. So what does that mean? Okay, well, I'll just jump back down all the way to the bottom, which the fall is admittedly very cool because of how high you're falling from. And then you get to the bottom, talk to him, and he tells you, go back up to the top. You have to climb the giant mountain again. You have got to be f***ing kidding me. Do you have any idea how long that took me? Do you know how tedious that was? You want me to do it again? All right, fine. So I climb all the way up, and then I need to get a sky ship, because that's the next thing I need to do. I go over to get a sky ship, and the awful controls strike. I accidentally tap right twice and fly all the way off the f***ing mountain again. Oh, wonderful. So I have to climb the whole goddamn thing again, do I? What a piece of shit. Climb the whole mountain again. Wish I'd quit. Get up to the top. Quest doesn't update. For some reason, spawning the sky ship has not updated my quest. I talk to this guy, it updates. I go to get in my boat, and some jackass spawns a skyship on top of my skyship, because apparently there's no check for that. I get stuck inside his, then I fall out, and guess where I am? At the bottom of the goddamn mountain again! Hoo-hoo-hoo, time to climb back up to the top. Are we having fun yet? Boy, oh boy, I'm not. And the thing that's so lost on me here is why isn't there some sort of teleporter or fast travel or something that you unlock when you get to the top of here? I just do not understand. Is it here? Did I miss it? I might have. If I did, f*** me, but I missed it. And because of that, I keep having to climb this goddamn mountain over and over and over again and wasting my time. What I figured out later was that if you fall all the way off and you reset your character, you spawn back all the way up at the top. So I wish I'd known that from the start, but then again, dying makes you lose fame and money. You get punished for dying. So basically, your choices are you lose money and you die and you save yourself 5 minutes, or you take the 5 to 10 minutes climbing this stupid mountain over and over and over again. I don't know what the purpose of making you lose shit for dying was. I just don't get it, but here we are. Where I'm at right now in the story is the game wanted me to take a skyship to an island and fight some guys. It didn't tell me where the island was. I'm sure I'll find it at some point, but that's at least the stopping point I'm at right now. And all I can really say is that I think I'm justifiably frustrated. And also can kind of see why there was a level lock, because the amount of quality between the beginning of the game and this part of the game took a massive nosedive. And it's a shame because the Sky Island concept and all of the sky boats and that kind of stuff is really cool, but I can't enjoy it when I'm thinking about the fact that if I fall off, I'm gonna have to go all the way back up again. Anyways, the last thing that we have to talk about, or the last thing that I am going to talk about, is the combat. Because I'm kind of stuck on the combat. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I haven't done PvP, and against the AI, it's just seemingly a janky, buggy, not very great bit of a mess. So, whatever. And that was basically confirmed to me when I fought this guy in the Sky Islands. He challenges you to a duel, and every single fight up until that point has been pretty easy to just run around and cheese or avoid enemy attacks and attack when they have openings, so I figured this one would be the same, and oh god, it wasn't. I don't know if it was my choice of magic or if it's just that the AI is broken, but it felt like this guy had basically 0 openings, had aimbot attacks, and not only did he have aimbot attacks, but he also had attacks that were so large that there was no way to avoid them, and they came out so quickly that it was all but impossible to predict them and try to block it. I don't know if the idea here is to just turn this into a health bar v health bar fight, where it's effectively a soft level lock, and it's saying you need this amount of DPS and this amount of health, otherwise you'll never clear this. But I ended up being able to get the guy stuck and cheese him anyway, which kind of tells me a lot of what I need to know. The thing that threw me off the most about the game so far, though, was the spell customization. When I first saw this and figured out about it, it was pretty late in the game because it just went over my head. But once I figured out about it, I thought it was incredibly cool. I thought it was really interesting. I couldn't wait to try it out, and then I did, and I was just wholly disappointed. It seemed to me like there were 1 or 2 things that you could change, and then changing anything else would almost be a direct downgrade. For example, if I take my light blast and I turned it into multiple light blasts, I'm stuck in place while firing it much longer than if I just shot a singular light blast. This doesn't seem so awful on paper, but in practice, getting stuck in place so that way you can eat basically any attack really sucks. Never mind the fact that it reduces the power of each shot, which seems to make it so that it would, in theory, increase damage if you hit every single one, but you probably wouldn't, so overall, customizing your magic just felt like a bit of a letdown. Admittedly though, there are a lot of things later on that seem to make it so you can customize it more that I don't have unlocked, so maybe I have to wait till then to figure it out, I'm not sure. Also, as a side note, when it came to this fight in the sky that I forgot to mention, if I knock him off and he falls off the edge, nothing happens. I have to sit there and wait for him to despawn, and then he respawns with full health. So that's pretty awesome. That's great. I love that. But that was my experience with Arcane Odyssey for the first 4 or so hours that I've played it. I don't really expect the quality to go up from here, especially after it colossally went down. I'm hoping it goes up, but I mean, only time will really tell. And I also think that this game isn't beyond saving when it comes to its early game, but they've got to do something quickly before it turns into a Blox Fruit situation. People kept telling me that the reason that Blox Fruit early game was so awful was because it was active for a really long time and the developers couldn't be bothered to go back and fix it. Well, this game's in early access, it came out relatively recently. Here's the developer's chance to go back and make this fun so that way future players don't have to go through the same problems that we did. And I mean, it'll also significantly help repeat playthroughs because, you know, I sure as hell don't want to go through this again, but with the multiple save slots and multiple types of magic that are mutually exclusive to each other, it would be pretty cool to try out different stuff, but I'm not climbing up those stairs again, so who knows. Anyways, that's all for today's video. That's all I've got to say. So if you enjoyed this video, you liked what I had to say, you didn't like what I had to say, let me know in the comments. But with that being said, I'm done here, so have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you guys next time.